How the dice fell. Flint Daniels and the Trees of Knowledge. Part 7. We were on a ship, and the plan is to an ocean ship, not a spaceship. The plan is to sail that ship to the Mother Baobab, hit it with the cognito hazard in Flint Daniels' mind, and use that to disable its control of all the mind snakes.
This plan is really bothering Robin, because the plan is we're going to put everyone on the planet into a coma, and we're going to start doing brain surgery on them with like a 50% chance of survival. We'll start with the doctors, and hopefully they'll recover enough to start doing some of the surgery themselves. And eventually we might be able to save, like, I don't know, 10% of the population. This is the best plan.
Yeah.
There are worse ones.
Well, if you do nothing, everyone dies.
Yes,
Yeah.
and these mind snake things get blasted out into the cosmos.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This is a depressing mission.
Yes, and Star Trek did find a way. Maybe they will. I mean,
Well, the Federation of Hold My Beer, right?
Mhm.
so yeah, so they're but it's gonna take 80 hours to get to the Mother Baobab. And the mind snakes are proliferating. They're just getting more and more and more of them. They're like, it's getting difficult to, like, it's just getting constant. So they decided that they need to figure out where they're coming from. And so began our journey of searching for where they're coming from.
Mhm.
The way that I did it is I decided to do it as a mini game. So we're searching for something. So I got out the board game Scotland Yard. I don't know if you've played it, but
Yes. I was
we
thinking Letters to Whitechapel, but that's the more advanced version. Yeah.
and what I did was, if you remember with Scotland Yard, there's like 5 times that Mr. X reveals himself throughout the thing, and I said, like, you're gonna be searching for this thing, and you're actually gonna find it no matter what. It doesn't matter if you win or lose, because in my experience, like, often Mr. X will win, especially if you're like evenly matched. Although I've mostly played with 4 detectives, not 5, but it doesn't matter. But every time Mr. X reveals himself, there's going to be an event. And so, you probably will want to beat this game before seeing all the events. So we start playing Scotland Yard, and it comes to the first reveal, and the first thing that happened as they were searching for them. Oh, right, they were walking down a corridor in the ship, and they saw this guy and this girl, and they're kissing. They're about to kiss in the hallway, and the girl is saying something like, "Oh, finally we're alone. I've been waiting for this moment for so long." And then, but they see a mind snake like coming out of her nose, like trying to go into the
guy.
the guy. Yeah. Now, I don't remember exactly how it went down. Someone just shouted, "Stop, stop, she's got a mind snake," or something like that. Do you remember exactly, Brian?
No, that's pretty much what it was. It was a whole cavalcade of like, no, don't do the horror movie trope.
And of course they were like, "No, oh no, they must be infected. Stay away from us, you infected scum." And there was a lot of talk that the guy was like really unimpressed, because this was his chance, and the girl was clearly infected but was claiming that the party was infected. In the end, they basically were gonna like capture them and tie them up, and so and they grabbed the guy and like pinned him down, but they didn't grab her. She got away, so she just looked back and said, "I'll remember you, Blagon," and then ran off. So yeah, and then what did they do with that guy? I don't remember. I think you tested him to see if he was mind snaked, and he wasn't, because he didn't. Or he was horrified but didn't go into a coma or something, and then I
Yeah,
think you just like,
yeah.
I think you just left him. You're just like,
Yeah, I don't think
because he was like really annoyed.
We didn't have the
he was like-
equipment with us to insert the nightmares into his mind.
Right. He was so annoyed because he was like, this was my chance. You guys ruined everything. And he just was like not appreciative at all. So they're like, fine. And they just left him there.
How did he even get into the resistance in the first place? So don't
There
they
was this
have
girl.
don't they have some kind of they have to
Nepotism.
have some kind of entrance exam or something, right? Some very basic thing, like, anyway. So yeah, he ran off and nothing of value was lost.
Another thing that happened around this time was where we realized that due to a mistake on my part and something I actually hadn't come across in the game, I accidentally moved Mr. X onto a square where he was caught on the very first turn of the game.
Yep.
And so we were like, okay, well, we'll just have to start over. But then people were like, I don't want to start over. So we decided I would give the party a boon in order to make up for it. So they also found some sort of another med stash somewhere, and it gave them materials to heal some of their consequences, which is good because they were pretty banged up from that battle on the bridge. So
Yeah.
It was just like that it was just like that thing with the gargoyle from like two campaigns ago, where I was like, hey, we're gonna play a board game, because there was a gargoyle who was like obsessed with this game he'd invented.
Yeah.
And it was just, I have that laser chess game. It's called, I forget what it's called, something Ankh or some kind of Egyptian name. Anyway, and he was like, hey, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you the information you want if you play this game with me. And the party was like, how about this? You tell us the information we want and we don't kill you. And then he was like, all right, I'll tell you the information you want. Tells him, and he's like, but maybe could you just play the game with me anyway? I've been here alone for thousands of years, and I just really want to play this game with someone. And so they're like, all right, fine. And so they play with the game with him, and it was like the whole group against me. And I thought that might be okay, because like I've played this before and they haven't. But like I made some stupid mistake on like the second turn, and he got like utterly destroyed instantly. So it's like he's been practicing this game against himself for thousands of years. These like random guys come in and just like crush him instantly. Anyway, it was kind of like that. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Were there further reveals, or did they
yeah,
just
so
found him?
it was interesting though, because I was playing Mr. X, of course, and they had me on the ropes for like the entire game. It was really challenging. Even on the second, like before the second reveal, I had to use one of my double moves and like two of my secret moves, because and those are usually things you use to get yourself out of serious trouble, or you save them.
Of course, we were really burning through our undergrounds and our buses and stuff too. So it was like both of us went out of the gate just throwing down all our high value stuff.
I was definitely having the feeling, if I can escape this, it's going to be super easy, because they burned all their resources. But one thing, I don't think I've ever played it the 6-player version. It makes a big difference. Mr. X gets one extra secret move, but that's it. And they have a whole other person on the board, which just makes it way harder. But anyway, there was another reveal. That was, oh yeah, they went into the kitchen and they found the kitchen, and there was some different people cooking in there. And the head chef just looked at them and said, capture them. And so one of them grabbed a big soup ladle. One of the sous chefs grabbed a soup ladle, and another sous chef grabbed one of those. Oh, what did he grab? Oh, he grabbed a pot of boiling oil. And the head chef grabbed a space lobster, just like the thing, a thing that kind of resembled a lobster from their planet.
Yeah.
And
well, space lobsters have the corners cut off, just like space paper from Battlestar Galactica.
And there was a guy who
pretty ouch.
There was a guy who was butchering some sort of thing, and he had a butcher's cleaver, so I just called him the butcher, and he also came running forward to attack them. So we had a brawl, like it was all just punching and fighting and
Yeah.
fighting over implements, and the guy smashed the ladle over Anplay's face, but she like stabbed it into him. She kind of is like losing it a little bit, I think. She's really upset and is like having a lot of panic attacks.
Was Ampelay the doctor?
Yeah, no, Amplay,
The
Sabine
mechanic.
Amplay is the mechanic, yeah,
Engineer, thank you very much.
sorry, engineer. Yes.
Mechanic.
Well, she
She's
is
the-
also a mechanic. but-
Well, yes, she is the mechanic, but I'm sure that they prefer to be called engineers.
Um,
So she got hit in the face with the ladle, and then she somehow reversed the direction of the ladle and stabbed the guy with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
she grabbed it from him.
Like
Oh,
the ladle part broke off and it was just a handle, and so she
Okay.
stabbed him with the handle.
Daniels, the guy with the lobster, came forward to try to like stab Daniels with it, and he just easily knocked it out of. No, he grabbed it and started attacking him back with the lobster. And the head chef then said, so you like lobster, do you? And unbeknownst to Daniels, he was standing right in front of the tank of lobsters. So the guy pulled the tank of lobsters over on him, and all the lobsters smashed onto him, covering him with lobsters that were all biting him and attached to him.
Daniels is a very action hero-y type character, but every time he gets into combat, he just gets completely pounded.
Well, that's how it goes,
fisticuffs
right?
specifically.
Yeah.
You get beaten up and then you fight back.
He's the John McClane, running through the thing with on his bare feet with broken glass, kind of.
Because he did eventually take out the head chef. They had an escalating fight, and he took him down. Chumley engaged with the butcher, and the butcher was waving his cleaver wildly, and Chumley avoided it a few times. But at some point, Chumley got injured. It was like the cleaver didn't hit him, but he twisted out of the way, got hurt, and got knocked down. And so then the butcher turned on Pill. And
the first guy that came after me actually wasn't the butcher guy. It was the guy with the pot of boiling oil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he came running at me with a pot of boiling oil. And so I basically just, as soon as he reached me, I flipped the pot of oil into his face.
And so he just started screaming on the floor.
Yeah.
Which, he was going to do the same to you, I guess. So,
Except it wouldn't have hurt me.
Yeah. So as that guy's screaming on the floor, the butcher comes up behind Pill and rams the butcher's cleaver right into his shoulder.
Oh yeah. Okay.
At which Pill is sort of like, huh? Something.
It jams in there.
Yeah,
Now,
he can't get it out. He
can't get it out.
He puts his foot on Pill's back and is trying to get the butcher cleaver out of his shoulder, but of course he can't. It's like wedged into
was
the
it
metal.
established that Pill had a fake shoulder, or
I
is
don't know
this
if it was
a new
established
thing that
before
Pill?
this. But-
Nothing has been established about this, and no one has commented yet about the
Okay.
cleaver.
Yeah.
Slight spoiler: that cleaver stays in his shoulder for the remainder of this session.
Yeah,
But nobody has said anything. And,
All right.
and Pill is willing to just let that, if no one's going to say anything, I'm not going to say anything.
Right. This must clearly be normal for humans.
Yes.
Yes.
So anyway, I disarmed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made him easier. And then Chumley took him down, re-engaged him and took him down. And without much ado, these guys were taken out. There was, I think some people got some consequences, but the cook staff was eliminated. So
Yeah.
and they kept they were getting lower and lower in the ship. They kept searching. What was next? There was one more thing before, wasn't there? Oh, no, that was
No, I don't think so.
no, that was it. So the next reveal was they were they were tracking the snakes closer and closer to the engine room, and they found a room next to, and they were clearly in the ductwork. So they found a room in the engine room where they could get up into the ductwork. And as they were kind of doing that, suddenly a group of rebels, 5 rebels, burst in, and they say, throw down your weapons and come with us. We know you're infected. And
we had another one of those big philosophical debates about, we think you're infected, and well, maybe we're all infected. Okay, we've won then. And okay, everyone who's infected on the count of 3, raise your hand. We did all those things.
Yeah.
None of it was working. I mean, it didn't work before, so I don't know why we were thinking it would work again.
I think it was in the end Daniels who convinced them, like, hey, we're trying to stop the mind snakes. So you can just come with us. And if we successfully stop the mind snakes, then you can trust us. And if we don't, then
Then we're back to the same situation.
Didn't we ultimately basically split up? We were basically like, okay, maybe we're infected, maybe we're not. It doesn't matter if we're split up again.
No, because they came with you into the ductwork. They were going to help you.
Okay.
And you guys all had tasers for tasing snakes, so that was also a good sign.
Yeah.
So they didn't really trust you, but you got them to a point where they were willing to like follow along behind you. And so people went up into the ductwork. And this is the point where on that reveal, Mr. X, I had to reveal him. No matter where I moved, I was next to a player. So there was no escape. So they won the game after the third reveal. They found the snakes. And so then they proceeded to climb through the ductwork above the engine room. They actually crawled in on the ducts that go along the ceiling of the engine room into a central thing, a hollow column where the air was blowing up, and they came to the edge of the ductwork, crawling through it, peered down, and they could see it was just like a huge mass of snakes, and they were clearly like just spreading and growing in there. So whatever was happening there, that was the source of the snakes. So they decided everyone was going to on the count of 3, they were going to fire off their tasers. So they everyone got their tasers ready and fired them at the same time after some debate about what to do. And at that moment, so that it had a huge impact. The snakes were clearly harmed. Their process was disrupted. It had killed a lot of them. It was clearly successful, but they started having like a death throes. There was like thousands of them in there slamming around, and the whole central pillar thingy broke open and fell over, and like a whole bunch of the dead snakes fell out. And when that happened, that was like the support for all the ductwork that they were in. So all the ductwork fell, and everyone just came falling down onto the floor of the room, which is covered in the dead snakes. And also all the ductwork up above was covered in living snakes. And so now they're in the engine room, and living snakes are falling on them everywhere. They can't like tell the living snakes from the dead snakes because there's dead snakes everywhere. And they just have to make a run for the exit of the room with snakes falling all over them. And so the way I did this is I had another little mini game, which was it was just one of my own devising. I had everyone draw a picture of their character and have it divided between legs, torso, and head. And every round they pulled a slip that said legs, torso, or head, and that's where a snake landed on them. And then at the end of the round, every round they would make a check, and if they failed their check, the snakes wouldn't do. If they made a check, they could get rid of 2 snakes off themselves. And then at the end of the round, the snakes all move up a level. And if the snake's on your head, it instead infects you or has a chance of infecting you.
Okay.
So they're just running full tilt, and we're doing all these checks, and snakes are landing on them. I had Pill have an extra body section, interior. So he had like some extra protection. They had to get to his head and then to his interior first. So,
and there was also, you could taser yourself, which would insta wipe all the snakes, but it would delay you by a round, and then there was consequences afterwards if you taser yourself. So
yeah.
What do the mind snakes look like again? It's been a while since we described them.
They're about as thick as a USB cord, and they look like they're silicone based, but they look like twisted together, like shiny metal almost. Like they're sort of shiny. They look braided.
I guess we had sort of different reactions to these things. Ampele just freaked out and ran. And so she got to the end of the hallway first, but she also had mind snakes like crawl onto her head, and now she had a chance of being infected.
Yeah,
Whereas
she was just panicking, not caring at all. So yeah.
Whereas I think Chumley was since he was security, he had a bonus on the checks.
Mhm.
So he basically just powered on through with no problems. Daniels, I think, tasered himself a bunch.
Yeah, Daniels had to taser himself.
Yeah.
But he got through. And
Bill wound up having to taser himself at one point because he had a series of really bad draws. I was trying to have him do a more balanced strategy, because you could do extra, you had advantage on your check to brush snakes off if you didn't run for a round, which meant you'd fall behind and it would take longer to get to the end. So there'd be more it's one of these things where there's trade-offs to all these different options. But I drew some bad cards and wound up getting a snake in my head, so I had to taser myself.
Yeah, at one point the snake actually made it to your interior, right? It was
no. Oh right, it goes to the
it didn't
interior,
make
and
it.
then next round is yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, you feel the coolness of the snake against your tentacle. But
And that was when I tasered myself.
yeah.
Which really fits in with Pill's MO back when the epiphany was a thing. He kept nuking his memory with that memory grenade whenever it seemed like he was about to start succumbing to it. So he's quite quick on the draw with that.
There was also the rebels that were with them that they had that allied with. And they basically, like, one of them was doing okay, but some of them just like got completely covered in snakes. But Chumley tasered them and helped them, and so of those 5 rebels, they got 4 of them out. So, and then they got to the door and they slammed the door, and were just sort of they sat down and kind of collapsed, and that's where we left it. So they did successfully get rid of the source of the mind snakes on the ship. I mean, there are still mind snakes on the ship, and like maybe they can make more, I don't know, but the immediate threat is of like constantly escalating snakes has been ended.
There was a mind snake factory and we wrecked that.
Yeah.
But you also wrecked the ventilation system for the engine room and ship or whatever.
That's okay. There's enough air to last us to the mother bale.
Yeah. I mean, presumably you can breathe the atmosphere, so
yes. Yeah, that's a frequent at least for Chumley. He keeps accidentally like thinking we're on a spaceship.
I do too, as a story receiver, because it's a space game.
Yeah, well, and it's called a ship. I don't know what you call it.
Is the hull made of metal or wood or
metal?
Yeah,
it's like a cargo ship basically.
Okay.
It's like a derelict cargo ship, and it's actually they've like purposely left it looking derelict so that it can seem
less hostile.
It's less suspicious. So it's sort of like their base. It's all the cities and like anything on land is really completely under control. So they've just been sort of basing themselves off this cargo ship out in the ocean.
I'm trying to remember what exactly Pill had for, like, I think Pill got his head crushed and he had to make up like a story about having
he had his prosthetic head.
Prosthetic head, yeah.
He also at one point said he had a prosthetic bowel.
Yes.
I think those are the only 2 parts that he has definitively established are prosthetic. He's also told everyone he's a Jehovah's Witness, and that's why he won't give a blood sample.
All right.
Yeah.
It was
It's
he
the
was from
most
like
you character I've ever heard of, Brian. Like,
he was from like North Canada or something, right?
That's Richard Pill is from northern upper, was it? He's from
upper Canada.
upper Canada, like the Yukon.
Like the
That's the he'll always say it not that full thing,
Yeah.
because when he said he was from Canada, Chumley was like, from upper Canada, and he was like, yes, from upper Canada, and then someone else chimed in, like the Yukon. I was like, yes, like the Yukon. However, if you recall, a couple sessions back, Richard Pill did a off-screen adventure of his own to do something, and was supposedly killed in the process. And so now Ricardo Pill, his brother, has come. He's exactly, he's got a big false mustache on his robot body, which is already fake. And he's from Mexico,
Yes.
which is the opposite of Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you from Central America? Yes. Mexico? Yes. I'm from Central America, Mexico.